Spiritual narcotics, emotional highs that keep you hooked. Elijah checked his phone for the 20th time that hour. It had been 3 days since Vanessa had reached out, the longest silence since they'd met 6 months ago. Their connection had been instant and overwhelming. "I've never felt this way about anyone," she had told him on their second date, her eyes holding his with an intensity that made everything else fade away. The pattern had established itself quickly. Vanessa would shower him with affection, painting vivid pictures of their future together. Then suddenly, she would withdraw completely, becoming cold and distant. When Elijah would finally pull away, hurt and confused, she would return with even greater passion than before, explaining that her fear of their powerful connection had made her retreat. "No one understands me like you do," she would whisper. "You're the only one who sees the real me." Each reconciliation felt like a spiritual experience, a rush of emotion and connection so powerful it seemed transcendent. The cycle of withdrawal and reunion had become a rhythm Elijah both dreaded and craved. His friends had noticed the changes in him. He had withdrawn from his community work, his creative projects sat untouched, and he measured his days by their interactions. "Something feels off," his sister had told him. "You seem anxious all the time except for those brief moments when things are good with her." But those moments felt so good, almost too good. Like a high that lifted him above the ordinary world, making everything else seem dull by comparison. When his phone finally chimed with her message, "I miss you so much. Can we talk? I need you," the relief flooded his system like a drug hitting his bloodstream. Only in that moment did he recognize the truth. What he was experiencing wasn't love, it was addiction. What Elijah experienced represents what can be called spiritual narcotics, emotional experiences that mimic spiritual connection but actually function as addictive substances in our psychological and spiritual systems. Just as chemical narcotics create artificial highs while damaging the body's natural capacity for pleasure, these emotional narcotics create intense temporary feelings while damaging our capacity for genuine connection. The Jezebel archetype, named after the manipulative biblical queen, often employs these spiritual narcotics as tools of control and bondage. The pattern follows distinct phases that mirror addiction cycles. First comes the rush phase. The relationship begins with overwhelming intensity, excessive compliments, rapid intimacy, declarations of unique connection, and promises that seem almost too good to be true. This creates a powerful neurochemical response similar to the high from a drug. Next is the withdrawal phase. The source of the high suddenly becomes unavailable emotionally, creating intense anxiety and craving. The uncertainty triggers neurochemical responses that intensify attachment. Then comes the relief phase. When contact resumes, the flood of relief feels like profound love and connection. This contrast between pain and relief creates a powerful reinforcement loop. Finally, there is the dependency phase. Your sense of worth and emotional stability become tied to the relationship. The fear of losing the connection overrides concerns about its quality or health. This cycle is particularly dangerous because it masquerades as spiritual connection. The intensity feels meaningful, the highs feel transcendent, and the pain feels like growth. But unlike genuine spiritual connection, which fosters freedom and expansion, these narcotics create dependency and contraction. Spiritually speaking, these dynamics drain your life force and disconnect you from your authentic path. Each cycle pulls you further from your center, weakens your boundaries, and distorts your perception of healthy love. The signs that you're caught in a spiritual narcotic cycle include measuring your worth by another's attention or approval, experiencing dramatic emotional swings based on the relationship status, feeling more alive during reconciliation than at any other time, neglecting other relationships and life purposes, making excuses for behavior you would never accept in other contexts, feeling spiritually connected during intense moments but disconnected from your deeper spiritual practices. The path to breaking free from these addictive cycles requires recognizing the pattern. Name the cycle for what it is: not love, but addiction. Just as with chemical substances, awareness is the first step toward freedom, restoring neurochemical balance. Intense emotional cycles create chemical dependencies in your brain. Practices like meditation, exercise, and consistent sleep can help restore balance. Rebuilding authentic connection. Invest in relationships that are steady, nurturing, and consistent rather than dramatically intense. Real connection feels like peace, not a roller coaster. Reclaiming spiritual discernment. Learn to distinguish between genuine spiritual experiences that expand your consciousness and emotional highs that create dependency. For those who recognize themselves as dispensers of emotional narcotics, often unconsciously, there is an important healing journey. Facing your fear of authentic connection. The creation of intensity often masks a deep fear of being truly known and loved for who you are. Developing consistent emotional presence rather than swinging between extremes of engagement and withdrawal. Seeking help to address the root causes of your need to control others through emotional manipulation. As for Elijah, recognition became his first step toward recovery. Instead of responding immediately to Vanessa's message, he called his sister. "I think I need help," he said. "This relationship feels like an addiction, not love." The withdrawal was painful. There were moments when the urge to reconnect felt nearly unbearable. But gradually, as he worked with a therapist and reconnected with his spiritual practices, the fog began to lift. He started to recognize how the dramatic highs had masked the absence of genuine intimacy, respect, and shared purpose. 6 months later, while volunteering at a community garden project he had once abandoned for the relationship, Elijah felt something he had almost forgotten, a quiet joy that came not from external validation but from within. His phone chimed with a message from Vanessa, another attempt to reignite the cycle. For the first time, he felt no pull to respond. The narcotic had lost its power. Remember, true spiritual connection brings clarity, not confusion. It creates freedom, not bondage. It expands your world rather than shrinking it. When someone offers you emotional experiences that feel like drugs, intense highs followed by devastating lows, they're offering addiction, not affection. The most profound spiritual act may be having the courage to walk away from these counterfeit connections and rediscover the steady light of authentic love, both for yourself and from others who truly see and cherish your soul.